Good evening. Tonight I'm at the bench. I've just been tying for fun. I'm filling my boxes for summertime fishing. I know it's just April, but we've had a couple warm days, so now I'm thinking about getting the kayak out. So, tying some crappie jigs. And if we can get things situated, let's get things switched around. In the vise, I have a 1/32 ball head, fluorescent yellow head, and I'm going to start with my 2-watt thread, locking it on right in the middle, and walking the thread right down to about the hook point. And I'm going to tie on the tail, and what I'm using, here's some old hackle feathers, and I want these long fibers that are very marabou-y. They're very webby, nice and long, and they're quite thin, but they're strong, just like a marabou. And I have one each of the fluorescent yellow and the hot pink. So I can line up the quills just so I can see both colors, and I'm going to try to overlap them in a way where they're roughly the same length. So I can grab a pinch and just strip it from the quill. And when I switch my hand, switch my grip, I have a bunch that's mixed. A little bit more with the fluorescent pink. If I want a little bit more of the fluorescent yellow, I can just take that feather individual, find some of those hairs, add it to the pinch. Like so. I'm going to measure these so they extend roughly the length of the entire jig past the bend of the hook. So I can switch my grips. And for this, I'm going to tie it in all as one, because I do want a little bit thicker base because the chenille I'm using is just a straight, I believe this is a size 1 or small. It's relatively thin diameter. So I want to build up the bulk just a little bit. I don't want to double wrap. Some guys, you can do that. It's just not what I'm going for. I want the body to be more uniform. I do want to build it up because of the diameter of the chenille, so there's a reason why we're adding this base, but I don't want to double wrap it. I don't want to make a bodybuilder looking jig. Before we do that though, I have some crystal hair, and this is CH16. It's a pink color, and I'm just going to take four strands. Let's see here. I have 2 strands that are long enough to put over my thread and where I can lock it in place very simply. And I can just nip those just so they're same length as the tail. touching wraps, walk my way back to the head of the jig. Before I get too far, I will just trim these butts. A little bit that sticks out is okay as long as it's not extending up over the head. I'm not going to put a Palmer collar on this, though you could. It would look fantastic. So get a length of your chenille that's long enough to do a few jigs at a time. And like I said, I want to build up the body a little bit, so I'm going to lock this on. And again, I'm going to walk my thread back down towards the hook point and then back to the head, which makes a really nice base. At this point, you can use your head cement or your hard as nails. Just a slight dab. You don't need to saturate this, but to add a little bit of durability to that inside of this jig. So my first wrap around will go towards the bend of the hook, and then as I bring it around, then I can angle it so I'm walking the chenille, touching wraps up to the head of the jig. All these wraps were between the vise jaws and my bobbin. On this last wrap, I'm going to bring the chenille to the outside of the bobbin, so when I switch hands with my right hand, as soon as I pick up the bobbin and start wrapping, I've already locked on that chenille, that last wrap. It's a very simple jig. Very colorful. You can use these steps and tie any color combination that you want. You know, darks, blacks, browns, yellows, brown and orange, solid white, very popular. Let's hold this up. There we go. Very simple. Crappie jig. And I'm just trimming that long piece of crystal. And I will finish this with my lacquer-based head cement. Just a couple drops on the thread, your final wraps. And there you have it. Very simple jig. I didn't want to turn the cameras on and you know, tie for an hour or so. I'm just finishing up a few of these panfish jigs to put in my box. Hopefully, as soon as the weather gets warm, we'll get out in the kayak and we'll do some fishing. So I think that'll do it for this session. If you like what we did here today, be sure to add some comments down below. And until next time, guys, tight lines.